Do you ever sit down to work and suddenly, boom, an hour disappears? You've done nothing. You tell yourself, I'll start in 5 minutes. But somehow that turns into Netflix, scrolling on TikTok, or just one more YouTube video. Listen, procrastination isn't just a bad habit. It's a productivity killer. It keeps you stuck and makes you feel guilty, and it stops you from reaching your goals. Today, I'm going to be giving you the ultimate guide to beating procrastination for good. No BS, no just try harder, actual science-based strategies that work. Let's get right into it. Most people think that procrastination is just about laziness, but it's actually your brain avoiding discomfort. See, when you have a task that feels hard, boring, or overwhelming, your brain panics. It wants you to take an easy win instead. So it pushes you to get those high dopamine hits, like social media, snacks, or just random distractions. Psychologists call this present bias. Your brain prioritizes dopamine now rather than dopamine later. That's why studying for an exam now feels painful, but just scrolling on TikTok feels so easy. So if you keep telling yourself, I just need to stop and I need to have more willpower, you don't need more willpower. You need a plan of action or a strategy. One of the hardest parts about procrastination is actually getting started. So we're going to start off with the easiest thing to do. Let's make starting stupid easy by implementing the 2-minute rule. Instead of, I need to go and do an hour workout, just start by putting your gym clothes on. Once you start, your brain naturally wants to continue. It's called the Zeigarnik effect. Your brain hates when you leave things unfinished. This works because most of the resistance is purely mental. The moment you break inertia, the momentum takes over. Instead of saying I need to go to the gym for an hour, again, just put on your gym clothes. And then once you feel like that, you're like, well, maybe I should start to get ready, like, I'll brush my teeth so I can go and be presentable. And then once you do that, be like, I need to put on deodorant. And then from there, be like, I'll grab my car keys. And from there, say, I'll get in my car. And then from there, just say, I'll just drive to the gym. If I don't feel like going to the gym when I get there, I'm not even gonna go to the gym. And then once you get there, be like, okay, I'm gonna walk into the gym. And then so on until you finish your workout. It makes it 10 times more easy to break up these habits into small steps rather than seeing it as one big action that you need to complete. Your brain runs on dopamine basically. Normally we chase dopamines from distractions, our phones, games, or even social media. But what if you rewired your brain to crave work instead? Here's some quick ways to do this. Number 1 is gamify your tasks. I personally use a habit tracker called Habitica, and it's really good for tracking your habits in a gamified way. You have your own avatar and you can get armor and weapons, and then you can join a party and do quests and defeat monsters. And I've talked about it on this channel before, but I really do highly recommend it for gamifying your tasks if that's something that you like to do. Number 2 is use the dopamine delay trick. So instead of going to dopamine right now, delay it and use it as a reward for doing your work. So don't go on Netflix right away. Say, after I've done all the work that I need to do for the day, then I'll go on Netflix. Even though it's not the best strategy, it works for a lot of people. And number 3 is use a visual progress system. You can use a progress bar, or like I'm using on my wall, it's a habit tracker, just a sheet of paper, and I check off all the habits that I need to do for the day if I've done them. And it shows me that I'm making real progress with all the habits that I'm doing. So if your brain gets dopamine from doing the work rather than avoiding it, procrastination disappears because your brain craves dopamine. And if you get these little dopamine hits from doing productive work throughout the day, then you start to rewire your brain to crave work instead of the quick dopamine distractions. But your brain can only focus for so long without burning out. So instead of grinding out all your work in one increment of time, spread it out throughout the day. This is called the Pomodoro technique. The Pomodoro technique works like this. You work for 25 minutes and then you take a 5-minute break. And after 4 rounds of 25 minutes and the 5-minute break, you take a longer 15-minute break until you're eventually done work. This works because your brain knows that a break is coming, so you can focus a little better. No more long and unproductive work sessions. I started implementing this when I was in a bit of a rut about a month ago, and since I have implemented it, I can start working at school a lot easier when I wasn't able to before, and especially at home where I have access to a computer and I'm not as likely to go on YouTube or anything like that. And I find the Pomodoro technique very useful. It doesn't work for everyone, but it works for some. But your environment is everything. If your workspace is full of distractions, you will procrastinate. So do yourself a favor by setting yourself up for success. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb whenever I am working, whether I'm script writing or doing one of these videos, or I'm doing some sort of client work like outreach or editing for them. You can use website blockers. I use an ad blocker. I also use various YouTube blockers. I can't remember what it's called right now, but I'll put it up on the screen right now, what my YouTube ad blocker and what my YouTube thumbnail blocker and title blocker is. I find it very, very useful for not going onto YouTube as often. And as far as my room goes, you can see it's very, very clean right now. I don't have really anything in my room that would distract me. I know it's not a great idea to have your office and your bedroom in the same room. I know that can be a problem for some people, but I am still living at home since I am in high school. So I don't really have much of a choice when it comes to that. And so what you can do is instead of losing confidence and be like, oh, I can never work from my bedroom, just eliminate as many distractions as possible from your workspace, like my bedroom. You can see I have very, very little things on my desk or on my shelf there. I don't really have anything around that can distract me. Most of it is either downstairs or I've just gotten rid of it at this point. But you definitely want to declutter your workspace and make it as clean as possible, because a cluttered space is a cluttered mind. So once you get rid of all those things, your mind will start to become more free from distractions, and you will get a lot more work done as a result of that. And if you struggle with self-accountability, you can use an external source to get that motivation. Some ways to do this are this. You can tell a friend your goal and have them check in on you periodically. This could be an accountability partner, this could be just a friend that you know, but have them check in on you and have them see how your work is going, because then when you're relying not only on yourself, it makes you more driven to actually do the work in the long run. Number two is you can use focus groups or co-working sessions. I don't personally use this method, although I know it works for a lot of people, where you can get in a group and do a lot of work and you have a set time for you to do all the work. So it's much easier for you to get stuff done when there's other people around, so you're not distracted and you feel more motivated to do the work. And step three is you can publicly commit. I know a lot of people don't want to do this, but you can commit your goals online and announce to the world that you're gonna journal every day for the next 14 days, that you're gonna meditate for the next 14 days. It can be anything. But if you have that feedback of people being like, oh, I'm doing the same thing, dude, you inspired me, it can be really, really good for you and good to eliminate procrastination. And finally, in the end, you might just need an identity change. Instead of telling yourself, I need to stop procrastinating, tell yourself, I'm the type of person that gets things done. Your identity shapes your habits. The moment that you start to believe that you are a productive person, your actions will follow. And I'll put up on the screen James Clear's diagram from Atomic Habits. And it's basically your identity is at the core of all of your processes and outcomes. Your identity basically, once you change your identity, you can change your processes, because the way that you go about doing those processes is different. And then since you change your processes, your outcomes become wildly different and to your advantage. But success isn't about doing everything perfectly. I've struggled with perfectionism a lot in my life, and I've realized now recently that it's better to just show up and get things done rather than waiting and trying to do everything perfectly, because perfectionism is the killer of progress. I'm sure you've heard that a lot, but it is really, really true, and I have gone through it recently. But I just want to say to everyone, if you show up every day, and if you don't procrastinate, and if you just get things done, you put your head down, you will get ahead of 99% of people. And I'm not joking when I say that. A lot of people are either perfectionists and either don't even put in the effort because they think they won't be perfect, or are scared of what people will think, so they don't put in the effort. You will be so surprised when you just start putting in a little effort every single day, how much better you become, either with yourself or compared to other people. Although I wouldn't recommend comparing yourself to other people, because that can become a little unhealthy. But now you have the tools, and now you can go out into the world and stop procrastinating. If this video helped at all, consider hitting the like and subscribe button, because I have a lot more videos coming up like this, and I have a lot of videos that I've made in the past. I apologize for not posting for I think it's about 20 days now. It's because I got really, really sick. My grandfather passed away, and I went through the perfectionism phase where I just thought, well, this isn't good enough, I'm not even gonna record. And I've realized that this video is probably not gonna be perfect, and videos, like hundreds of videos from now, it's not gonna be perfect. But if I show up and if I do the work, I will become 100 times better than if I just sat here and tried to make everything perfect. So apologies for not uploading for a little bit, but I'm gonna be back now and I'm gonna be uploading more frequently than ever. And I am going to see you on the next video. Bye-bye.